Hello, good afternoon. How's it going, folks? It's me. I'm back again. It's been a while, we used to seeing this face, but we are here to talk about the potential upcoming derby that is happening tomorrow between Celtic and Rangers. Now, I am joined today by my lovely two guests, Johnny Logan, Terry Rob. I know that one wee band somewhere is having some sort of a reunion this week, but this is the biggest reunion we've got to talk about this week. Is Johnny and Terry being back on the show together. How you doing, lads? How you getting on?
Not bad, Conor. Good to see you, mate.
We see you, Johnny. How you getting on? How you getting on, Johnny?
I'm doing great. Yeah, just enjoying a bit of time off work before I go back to work next week. So, yeah, nice way to finish the time off. Will be a nice little win on Sunday. It'll be nice. But yeah, I'm doing good.
Excellent. Right, now, before we get stuck into all the nitty gritty and the juicy details, if you guys can like, share, subscribe, share the bus far and with all your friends and family, you can become a Bhoycie Bus member for the low fee of $1.99 a month. Don't forget that. Totally optional. You don't need to do it. It's just a thing that's there. If you are so inclined, you want to help the guys out in the bus and help keep the wheels spinning. Okay. We're also happy to say that we're sponsored by piesports.com. And you can use the code BUS1888 to get 12.5% off your order. I don't know if we do next day delivery, so you may be cutting a bit tight, but if you want to go and use the code, hopefully you can get all your tasty pastry treats, including your doner pies, for tomorrow's big game. I'm sure Terry will have a lot of them in the freezer, I'd imagine, ready to get the frosted for tomorrow.
I need to put a new order in, actually. I usually get about 50 or 60 in one go. And postman's always laughing his head off, bringing them in like with the packaging and all on them. And no, I need to put a new order in, actually.
I will be sure and use the code this time, man.
I need to use the code this time. I know I've schoolboy error the last time.
Honestly, they'll just be sitting laughing at you, but like, that's silly assholes fucking not even using the code that we're giving them. He's sitting paying full price. Anyway, guys, we'll get stuck in. Obviously, last night concluded the finalisation of the transfer window for the summer. Now, that ended with Celtic signing American international Austin Trusty at centre-back, Luke McCown from Dundee on a 4-year deal, and we also signed Arne Engels from FC Augsburg, the Belgian player there, Belgian midfielder. And we also seen a couple of guys go out the door as well. I believe Gustav Lagerbielke, as we all know, we've sold Tomoki Iwata to Birmingham, and Mikey Johnson has been sold to West Brom. Now, guys, I'll start with Johnny first. Can you give me like your thoughts and feelings about the transfer window? How do you feel now that it's over? How were you feeling during it? Because obviously you've not been on very much, and me and the guys, even when I was doing the carpools and stuff like that, I was losing my head, every single week about, that's putting it mildly, about, the lack of business, the lack of transfers coming in. But now, everything's done. It's in the cold light of day. How are you feeling about it, as a whole, and how it's ended, mate?
Well, as a whole, I would say I'm happy with the fact that it's a better window than it was last summer. I think it was a better end to the window than it was an actual transfer window. I'm not a big fan of this last day window closing job. Big teams should have the job done a lot sooner than the last day. And maybe if you make a last day signing, it should only really be if something crops up that you didn't expect. It took us far too long. And I'm not going to say nothing that nobody else has already said, to be fair. We took far too long just to get the outfield players back up to the level we were at when the final whistle was blown on Cup final day. Obviously, we knew we were looking for a goalkeeper, but it took us far too long to get Bernardo and Ida in the door. For whatever reason, the haggling over prices, Norwich wanting to have a look at the new Norwich manager. Understandably, wanting to have a look at Ida, but we could have still, I think we should have still been in there and been a lot more forceful and said, look, we want him. He wants to go. We're willing to pay the money you're looking for. Let's get down to business, as they say. And I'm quite sure Norwich would have gone along with that. They got along with the players' wishes. No team should really want to keep any player who doesn't want to be there. The frustration was then just also a big gap waiting on players coming in, being linked with this player, being linked to that player, nothing happening. Putting Conor on the carpool and seeing his brain splatter all over his living room ceiling, and thinking, Celtic, do something for the sake of this man's health, the players we've brought in, I think, obviously don't know anything about them. So I can't say I'm excited about the players. I'm excited about the don't want to use the word potential, but the profile of the player. Engels has got, for a 20-year-old, got quite a good bit of experience in the Bundesliga, which has got to speak for something. I don't know how many teams were interested in him, whether we were in a race with anybody. I didn't hear that we were. Maybe we just got in there quick and got him done before anybody else really got him done. Although I don't think we did, because it was at least a week of talking about it. Trusty, don't know anything about him either, apart from the fact that he's... A lot of people have been going on about the fact, he's an American internationalist. Carter Vickers will know him, but I don't think Carter Vickers will have played a game alongside him. I think he's only got two caps, I think I read.
Yeah, they've never played beside each other.
I don't think he's ever played along. They might have trained together in squads, I'm sure they have done, but yeah, so I'm glad to see that we've got that position sorted out. The fullback position, again, another young kid. He's only 20, isn't he? So, but apparently quite highly rated and fancied at Barcelona. Bit of a strange one with his release clause when he signed the 12-month extension, which I think Barcelona just only gave him the extension to protect themselves. But the 3 million release clause that they've got doesn't seem that much when you consider he had previously been on a £30 million release clause. So I don't know how that quite works, but I would say in some aspects happy, other aspects it needs to be a lot slicker, and it should have been in place 4 or 5 weeks ago. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And hopefully these guys are going to do what we hope and expect them to do. But as I said, overall, happy with the players that we brought in. Just wish it had happened a little bit more professionally, if you like a big team does, big clubs do.
Yeah, Terry, I feel like that is the thing that has kind of gotten the goat of most of the supporters, including myself, is in you could look at it on paper and say that the players that we have gotten in, the players that we've gotten out, have actually, I'd say, been relatively successful in getting good prices for our players, shifting a lot of the deadwood. The fact that we got money for guys and decent money for guys like Owen, Johnston, and Iwata and stuff like that is kind of a good sign. But I feel like the thing that was kind of getting on people's backs was the pace, how slow and monotonous the whole window was, and just for weeks and weeks and weeks we had just big stretches of nothing. All we had going for us was Matt O'Reilly leaving, when's Andy Meader coming in, when's Bernardo coming in, and for weeks, up for possibly months, that's all we had. I mean, geez, even Regan, basically almost to a T predicted the exact date that we would get Adam Meader in the door. He was only like a day out, and that was well over a month before it even happened. So yeah, man, just what's your opinion on how we've Celtic as a whole have handled the transfer window? Are you happy with this we've got done? Do you think we could have got more done? Are you unhappy? What's your thoughts, mate?
Shambles, total shambles. Absolute lack of planning. Caught with our pants down twice. Ended up paying more for Ida than we would have paid had we just got the job done early. We've ended up paying more for Engels because we let it drag on. Total shambles. No planning. No thought process. Pantomime. Manager having to call the board out in press conferences just to try and get players in the door. I want to get the negative stuff out of the way because I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow and all of that. But this window for me was a total disgrace, and it's just another in a long line of windows. And I know there's supporters out there who are over the moon that we spent 30 million in the window, and they'll say, what more do you want? We broke our transfer record twice. We should be breaking our transfer record every single summer. The price of pies goes up every year. The price of tickets goes up every year. The price of everything goes up every year. We should be breaking our transfer record every year. 6 million was our transfer record for 20 years. So, yeah, I'm delighted we broke our transfer record twice. We should be breaking it every single year. So, pats on the back for the board. Yeah, brilliant. Ida, let's start with the first one. So, it took us 6 months to get a goalkeeper. And it took the manager again to intervene. And I'm pretty sure, and I've said this before on the bus, I'm pretty sure the name the board came up with was Cinicello. And I think Rodgers has gone, I'm going to get somebody here, and you need to back me. I think that's how we've ended up with those goalkeepers. I don't think the Celtic board have planned a succession plan. Let's bring in one for now and let's bring in one for 2 years. I think they've come up with a name, and Rodgers has gone, nah, I ain't doing this. And he's gone and got his man. Then again, the back and forth with Bernardo and Ida. The 2 deals got done eventually. There was no reason why those 2 deals couldn't have got done at the very start of the summer. And even on that, Bernardo didn't start very much for us last year. And despite what the manager says, Ida was number 2 striker. Slightly number 2, but he was number 2 striker. Kyogo started all the big ones when he was fit. And I know we'll touch on the game tomorrow, and I expect that still to be the case when tomorrow comes. I think last year at least there was a number 1 and a number 2. Not much in it. Much closer than O and guys like that. But he was a number 2. So those 2 guys that we brought in weren't first team starters last year. We spent 30 million. We brought in 40. So we've got a net gain of £10 million. Also, between the last window and this one, we brought in 11 for Abada. So there's 20 million. We should have had the ambition to go and spend that 20 million. That would have been a break even for the last 5 months, and there would have been absolutely nothing wrong with that. We wouldn't have had to touch that pot of 100 million that's sitting there. All we had to do was have a break even window, spend another 20 on two or three more guaranteed first team upgrades. Then we would have been tooled up for the Champions League and the fortuitous draw that we've had. Now, this is the 3rd fortuitous draw in a row. So for many a year, we were very unlucky in terms of the draws that we were getting. We were in a scenario where you were being put in a group maybe with a Barcelona and a Bayern Munich, and you could have tooled up all you wanted. You still weren't going to get out of the group. But the last 2 years, if we were better prepared and we had been a bit more ambitious and tooled up, we could have done something in those groups. Now, this group that we're in, the new format and everything, and again, I'll probably get shot down a little bit here, but the group that we've landed in is a strong Europa League group. It's not a Champions League group. It's a strong Europa League group. Somebody asked me to pick what draw I would like, and I handpicked 8 teams, and we got 5 of them. So this draw has been extremely, extremely kind to us, but once again, we haven't tooled the manager up. And I don't know why there seems to be a real surge of optimism that we're gonna do well in this Champions League group. And I don't know where that comes from, because there's absolutely nothing to back that up in the last 20 years. And there's nothing that's happened in this transfer window to make me think that our team is stronger than it was last year. And last year's team was already weaker than the one from the year before. So I don't want to be negative on this weekend when we've got so much to look forward to, hopefully. But I thought it was an utter shambles. And for a board that's so preoccupied with making money, the Champions League is the biggest cash cow going, and guaranteed entry to that group stage is essential. It's just an opportunity for you to go and write checks. And our board don't seem to be able to see that. And our poor performance in previous years now means that we're not guaranteed to get in next year. And I just think with a little bit of ambition, like, can you imagine if we tooled up properly and brought in, say, 4 upgrades on last year? Now, some of the guys we've brought in may turn out to be upgrades, but we don't know that they're definite upgrades because we don't know how these guys are. Bernardo's not an upgrade because he didn't play much. Ida is a good second option for Kyogo. McKeown, I'm really happy with. I like the guy, and I think he could be one of those players who's bloomed really late, and getting this opportunity at 26, he may be able to deal with it better than if he got it when he was 17 or 18. I actually wanted us to sign him. I'm really happy with that one. I think he's got something. I'm hopeful that he's not going to be one of those SPL signings that somebody that really stood out in another team, and then you bring them in and they can't get game time. I've got a different feeling about this guy. I just have a good feel about it. He's got something about him. He's got that Scottish trait of gallousness. There's just something about the lad. He's got a bit of dig in him. So I'm pleased with that one. However, that's not a Champions League signing at the end of the day. And as much as I hope he does well, and I think he will, and I was saying in the chat earlier, there's something in me. If I was picking the team tomorrow, there's something in me would almost dare me to throw him in rather than the 11 million man or Trusty. There's something would dare me to try and maybe throw McKeown in to that fixture tomorrow, because I think he'd be absolutely buzzing. He's a Celtic fan. Like I say, he's 26, so he's got this opportunity a wee bit later than players tend to if they're showing promise in the domestic league. I'd be tempted to fire him in, but go back to your question. The window, not for me. I think it's just been yet another tale of absolute nonsense with Celtic in transfer windows. The players that we've signed, like the 3 on deadline day, we could have got those guys at any time during the summer. Are you telling me we had to wait all summer to get Luke McKeown on deadline day? Trusty, I can't make any comment on him. I've not seen anything of him. Let's hope he's Trusty. Let's hope he's not Trusty Ben. I don't know. I haven't seen the guy. And the 11 million man, haven't seen him play. Can't make any comment on him. He looks good stature. He's the right age. He's been called into the Belgian national team. Everything points to him being a player. Why did we have to wait to deadline day? There weren't a whole queue of clubs in for him. We've ended up paying more than we wanted to because we left it late. Anyway, that's the negativity over and done with.
Terry, just on that point, when you talk about the lad for Dundee, what's his name? McKeown.
Yeah.
David put on our group chat must have been about a week to 10 days ago that he'd heard that deal was done. Not that we were interested, the deal was done. So why did it take from whenever that was? Let's say it was a week to 10 days ago, David put that in our group chat. McKeown deal done. He didn't say interested, or he didn't say I've heard that we're interested. The deal was done. So why wait until and let Hibs string along with 4 or 5 bids?
I'll answer that question. It's because it makes the Celtic board look more busy than they actually are. It makes them look like they're actually trying a bit more, try to do a bit more work. They're putting in the hard graft. They're burning the midnight oil, try to get these deals done at the last minute to try and have on paper a successful window. When the fact of the matter is, some of these deals, they were already done.
Or because if they'd announced him 10 days ago before they announced anybody else, they would be expecting more. Maybe, but
then we'd maybe be expecting more to come in. So then you say, you've signed McKeown, now who? Now you've signed Engels, now who? That's because we were expecting a hell of a lot more. So I think that's potentially why.
What we've done is these 3 guys, and I include McKeown in this. I think the money we spent on Trusty and Engels suggests that they're first team players. I still will be interested to see if Trusty's better than Scales. Let's see. Let's hope he is. Let's say these guys are 3 first team upgrades. We're getting into a really pivotal game tomorrow, and we've left it so late that the likelihood is none of these 3 guys will start the game or be really able. Hopefully they do, but they may not be able to influence the game in the same way as if we'd had them in when the season kicked off and they'd had a chance to train with the teammates and get accustomed to the style of play and all that kind of stuff. So this leaving it to the last minute, I don't know. I don't see why we had to do it on those 3 players.
No, exactly, Terry. It's like any business trying to suddenly finding out they need 3 guys to work a production line, go and grab them 3 guys off the street, put them in there and get them expected to do the job. I think one of them will play tomorrow. And I'll leave that for later on, but I think one of them will play tomorrow.
See the Arameda one as well. I genuinely think the only reason that got done that week is because Kyogo's shoulder popped on the weekend, and there was a link with Man City. I genuinely, and the manager basically begged the board to get the deal done on Sky TV. I genuinely think that one could have went right down to the wire as well. And we ended up paying about 3 million more than we had to, because if we just paid 6 at the start of the summer, we'd have gotten.
I don't understand why there wasn't an option to buy clause in that though as well. Like surely if he was, Arameda was the 3rd choice at Norwich at the time. Clearly,
but Conor, Arameda, it's the same thing again. Arameda was a last minute afterthought at the end of the January window. He wasn't a planned signing. He was something that just came up in the last.
So was Cameron and Carter Vickers and Jota, and they were also had options.
Carter Vickers have been linked. Carter Vickers have been linked with Celtic for a few windows before, so I think he was definitely somebody that was on the radar. But I think Ida was just such a last minute, unplanned signing that he was probably not seen as somebody that we would actually be wanting to bring in longer term. I think he was maybe seen as a stopgap, because the conversations with the Danish striker Svetsgaarden, I think they were quite well down the line at that point. And I think the club's plan was his team wouldn't sell him in January. And I think there might have been a plan, right, we'll get him in the summer. Let's get a body in just to get us through to there. And then when we've got Ida in and he started to make a contribution, and a really strong contribution, and he was pivotal to us winning both the league and the cup, I think then they thought, actually, I think this might be our man. I think the whole plan was... The whole plan was, it wasn't a plan. He was just a body to bring in as a stopgap, and then he made it the impression that we then wanted to go and get him. That's my own personal thoughts on that one.
Right, moving on, because I feel like you've covered every blade of grass in that wee 10-minute spell there. We'll just take a wee break for the Terry Robb show that I would actually, me and Johnny will get a chance to talk. That would be quite nice.
Yes, you crack on, Terry, son.
Christ, I'm glad it's just the milkies on the day, man. Fuck, if it was on something stronger, you'd be shutting them up. Right.
I'm on a can of beer, but
that's basically milk to you, mate.
I'm not going to spoil myself for tomorrow. The last thing I want to do is be lying tomorrow morning in the States, so I'm just going to have a couple. Right.
So, guys, we'll start with Johnny first. I'm going to try and obviously just quickly run through it. What's your lineup, or your go-to lineup for tomorrow? Not what you think will the lineup be. What do you personally want the lineup to be, right? So, Johnny, you go first. And do you want any of the new boys to start as well? Obviously, we can put that in as well.
Schmeichel in goals, obviously. Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Taylor, or is it Valley? How do you pronounce this lad's name?
Just call him Alex. That's what we've been saying. But just call him Alex.
I don't know whether it'll be Taylor or Alex. I suspect it'll be Taylor. Although the two positions we've cried out for, that we've been saying we need to have an upgrade on and we need to have replacements for, has been Taylor and Scales. The lad Alex has been more described as to bring in competition for Taylor, which doesn't suggest that he's going to come straight into the team. So I'm going to stick with Taylor on that one, much to Liam Greenlaw's disgust, I would imagine. Vickers, and I think Trusty will come in and replace Scales. That's the one I think will be the change. So what we've got to do, that's what Schmeichel, Johnson, Taylor, Vickers, Scales, Hitati, McGregor, Bernardo. I think he'll keep Engels to bring off the bench. How many does that leave me with in that? And then Kyogo.
So is this your team, or what you think is going to happen?
This is what I would play. He's just asked me to say my team, yeah? And I also, a bit of what I think we should do. Kun and Maeda.
Right, Terry,
Although
what about
I
you,
can't
mate?
make up my mind whether he's going to go Forest or Coon. I think he's
Yeah.
definitely going to play Maeda. Maeda's an absolute shoe on
Yeah.
because we
He
know
keeps having
the
a
effect
nightmare,
he has on their captain. Is he still a captain? Yeah. But anyway, we know the effect he has on Tavernier, so he's an absolute stick on.
See, right, I'm thinking that Kuhn might start because he's in hot form now, and I think he could potentially give their back line a turgid time. He could be very, very effective against. I think it's that who's on that side for them? Is it Yefty? I think he looks quite defensively not the best either. Granted, very much like their other fullback, was great going forward, can go forward. Defensively, doing his actual main job, doesn't exactly look the ticket. So I think could be Kuhn up there as well. So Terry, what about you, mate? What's your opinions on who's going to start? Who do you want to start? And do you think any of the new boys will have to come in and start?
When you think about this, it's hard to try and separate what you would do and from what you think the manager is going to do. So I'll start with what I think the team will be. The manager will pick Schmeichel, Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, McGregor, Bernardo, Hatate, Kuhn, Maeda, Kyogo. The only thing I'm a little bit nervous about is I don't believe the manager around Carter Vickers. I'm a bit nervous. I think he might be carrying a knock. There was a moment in the game last week where he clearly taken a knock and he was hobbling. It's a strange time to give a guy a rest on a Friday before a massive game where you're going to be working on your shape and your plan for that game. It's strange. So I'm nervous. I'm hoping there was nothing in it. I don't see Scales not starting. I don't know if Brendan's seen any more a trusty than I have. I don't see how you can throw him in there whenever Scales has been a safe pair of hands for the best part of a year now. So I don't see that changing. I don't see the young lad getting thrown in for Taylor. I just don't see any way that would happen either. The only one I would throw in instead is, and again, it's just there's just something telling me I'd throw McKayan in instead of Bernardo.
That's just your devilment, Terry.
Just for a bit of devilment, yeah. And do you know what, John? I think that's the thing. I see a bit of devilment in that player, and I think it would just be a curveball where they wouldn't be expecting that. And he's actually somebody who's played very, very well against Rangers over the last 6 months. And I would just be tempted just to throw that in, but I fully expect the manager to pick the team that I've said there. Other than Kuhn and Forest is a toss of a coin. I think the rest of them are nailed on in terms of what the manager will do, as long as Carter Vickers is fit. See if we wake up tomorrow and he's not in that team, panic starts to set in, doesn't it? Although same thing, first Glasgow Derby last season, we went
Scales and Lagerbielke.
Yeah, when you say that, you're right, because I've said this umpteen times on here before. Of all last season, and probably the season before, the name that filled me full of fear when he wasn't on the team sheet was Carter Vickers. But I don't know whether it's just early season rustiness, but he hasn't looked the sort of powerful, conquering defender that we've got used to. I mean, I think he's been bullied a little bit more this season than he has been in the last 2 years.
We pointed out in the first game of the season at Celtic Park that I think I said in the post-match to Bhoycie, I think that's the first time we've seen somebody out muscle him. And something else, there was another sort of joust where he got beaten and he just got physically beaten. And I don't know, maybe his fitness has always been something that's hampered him throughout his career. And again, with him getting a rest on Friday, has the problems that sort of got in the way last season? Is there still something lingering there that that's holding him back, or are these just two isolated incidents where he hasn't come out on top and we're just spoiled because we're just expecting to see him stroll through every single game? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, playing alongside Liam Scales for a season will do that to you, Terry. I mean, come on now. But
Scales has been good. Connor Scales has been good.
I'm joking.
I know you are. I know you are.
Calm down, Terry. Calm down.
I don't see Scales getting left out tomorrow, and I think
No, I don't see him getting
Trusty's
left out either, to be honest.
going to have to be better than him to get his place.
No, definitely. I mean, as Scales' jersey to lose. I mean, he's seen off, two players were paid a combined £8 million for last season, and Scales and and Lagerbielke and Nawrocki,
Yeah.
and he did that, relatively well. So let's see what this Trusty boy's got, and if he's actually got a bit about him, then maybe we'll see. Competition only makes players better, so we can hope that two scenarios that Trusty either comes in and he's better, or he comes in and he makes Scales better, by proxy, because he's there giving him the competition for the jersey. So, but yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think there'll be any curveballs. I don't think there'll be any real surprises. The only one I could see potentially would be Trusty possibly coming for Scales, but then again, Scales has played these games before, and he's actually looked all right, to be totally honest. I think I don't get as nervous watching Liam Scales play against Rangers. That's not where I get nervous from. I get nervous watching him when he's playing against other teams, and he has to come out more. He has to come out, out of the defence. He has to try and pass. He has to try and, play it quickly. If you're one-on-one with Liam Scales defensively, I think he's perfectly sound. I think he's totally fine. I don't have any problems with him, in that regard at all. But yeah, personally, I think you guys are right. There won't be many curveballs. I know you're wanting Luke McCowan in. You're saying, oh, he's got a bit about him. He's a die-hard Celtic fan. He's got a bit of devilment. For me, that could be risky, because you look at the emotion on his face when he signed. Imagine he gets told, right, son, you're starting against Rangers tomorrow. That could be very, very good, or it could be very, very, dangerous, because he could totally get wrapped up in the emotions of the fixture and what it means for him personally. That's what I think. Because
can you imagine the roar tomorrow? See if the game, if we're leading and we bring on the record signing, can you imagine the roar that's going to go up whenever he comes on?
Engels, true. But I think this is what I want to happen. We'll obviously get on the other topics now later, and we'll discuss this possibly more later. But hopefully, if we are comfortable, and I think we potentially will be quite comfortable, we could technically be 3 or 4 goals up, by at some point tomorrow. It's not without the realms of possibility to be 3 or 4 goals up against Rangers, considering the form they are in and the form that we're in. I don't want us to, if we're 3 or 4 goals up, or just, see it out of our. Bring the new boys on with a lot of time to go and show them what they can do, saying, you've got an opportunity to make a name for yourself now, and really go out and put a bit of heart on them. And if there's one player you think that if we are a bit comfortable, they're on the ropes quite a bit, one player that you reckon would come on and do that, I think it'd probably be Luke McCowan as well. He'd be sitting there on the bench licking his lips, but the potential of him coming on and potentially doing something really important in that game that could, really, really endear him to the Celtic support, upon his debut. But right, moving on, guys. So, start with Johnny now. What are your thoughts going in, my man? How you feeling? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Are your palms sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy? How are you feeling? Is there anything, or are you totally chill? Are you zen? Are you, is your feng shui all great? How are you feeling going into this, my man?
At this very moment in time, I'm absolutely chilled. I'm quite confident that we're going to win. That's at this moment in time. 5 minutes before kick-off tomorrow, I'll start shaking like a shitting dog and panicking like I always do. Even when we were regularly doing them 5 and 4-1, I still get worked up for the start of the game. But if you look at it logically, Rangers would have to play. If the Rangers play at their very best and we play at our very best, we still win. Rangers will have to play at their best tomorrow, and for us to be playing at 50% of what we've done so far this season for Rangers to get a win. I think Rangers will be coming tomorrow to try and retain the moral victory cup that they won last year at Ibrox. I think if you get offered Rangers a draw tomorrow, they'll snap your hand off for it. If you offer them a boring 0-0, they'll snap your hand off for it. Whereas if you offer us a draw for tomorrow, we're saying no chance. We're a better team than Rangers. There is no two ways about it. There is not one Rangers player in their squad that I would want at Parkhead at the minute. you couldn't ask the most ardent, staunch Rangers supporter the same question and then give you the same answer. They wouldn't say, "Oh, there's nobody at Celtic I would want." They would take probably every single one of our squad, apart from maybe Taylor and Scales. But man for man, we're a better team. We should win tomorrow. And I think, do you want me to give you a score prediction just now?
I usually save that for the end, but if you're wanting to pop your share early, go for it.
But to answer your question, at the minute, I'm quite happy. I'm quite chilled. I'm quite relaxed. I'm very confident we're going to win. Tomorrow, I'll start, as I said earlier on, I'll be up to high door. I'll be pacing the living room floor. If we score a goal, I'll be dancing around the living room. And I won't start to relax unless we get, I was going to say 2-0 up, but I think we've been 2-0 up twice last season, weren't we? 2-0 up twice last season. Once we won and one we ended up drawing. So I won't start relaxing until we're 3-0 up tomorrow. That's my relaxing point, Colin Sweeney. 3-0.
Right, Terry, how are you feeling, mate? Because obviously, I have always find it quite hard to gauge how you're feeling about these games, because you always have that kind of nonchalant attitude the way you go in. Otherwise, I'm a very emotional being. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm either, we could be at the top of the world tomorrow, ready to go in and pace them 5-0. But pre-game ritual for me tomorrow will be sitting in a pitch black room, taking a shot of tequila, blasting Phil Jones. I can hear it coming in the air tonight. Just before the game kicks off, I need to have a bit of my pre-match ritual to get myself in the zone. But what about you, mate? Like, how are you feeling going into it?
I feel as if I'm the negative influence on this pod. I get everything that John said, and I agree with vast majority of what John said. Probably what I pull you up on, and again, not pull you up's the wrong thing, but what I would challenge you on is, you said there's 3-4-0. On what basis do you see us being 3 or 4-0 up? Because whilst we have monopolised and dominated this fixture, both under Ange and Brendan, in the last 10 Celtic Rangers games, there has not been any more than one goal between the sides. And we
beat them 4-0 under Ange the second season.
The last 10.
Oh, last 10, sorry.
The last 10, there hasn't been any more than a goal. If I'm wrong, then one of the newspapers I read earlier is wrong as well. I think we're the better side, but I don't think we're that far away, the better side, that we're just going to go and coast this. I think the manager talked about it this week. He's supremely confident because of his record in this game. I think you've still got to respect the opposition. This Rangers team might not be as strong as Rangers teams in the past, but it's still a core of a side who have been quite dogged, especially in Europe, and have been able to grind out results and get results on occasions when they've got no right to get them. And tomorrow could be one of those occasions, because everything points to Celtic. The history of the recent history over the last couple of seasons, the way we've started the season with the cohesion within the team. I still don't think there's any evidence to say that we're stronger than we were last season. And to be honest, I don't even know who plays for them anymore, because I genuinely haven't kept up to date with who's in and who's out. I think I read something that Cantwell might have went the other day for $500,000 or something. So I'm sad to see him go, because he was a bit of a cash cow for me, because I'd done him for a yellow card every single time Celtic played Rangers. And the funniest one was I done a bet builder. I think it was the last time I done a bet builder. So it's somebody to score, 2 or 3 players to get booked. Celtic to have more throw-ins than Rangers or whatever. And the last thing I was waiting on was Cantwell to get booked. And he gets substituted. And I was waiting for 500 notes, and he gets substituted. And I'm sitting going, bastard, why did he took him off? And then he got a yellow card. He got a yellow card after he'd been subbed, because he said something to Taylor. He done something after he'd already been subbed, and the ref went over and booked him. So I got 500 notes, the luckiest 500 I ever got. I've no idea who plays for Rangers anymore, but I genuinely, I still think there needs to be an air of caution. What tomorrow presents us with is a tremendous opportunity to, 4 games in, grab this league by the scruff of the neck. Because we win tomorrow, that's 5 points clear. 5 points clear after 4 games. In a league where the teams outside of Celtic and Rangers don't really take an awful lot of points. 5 points after 4 matches is a serious gap. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it's a serious gap. And I think that's the prize that's on offer tomorrow. And we need to go out there and grasp that. But I don't see a procession. I don't see this straightforward turn up and we win type thing. I think it's going to be similar to the games last season. I do expect us to get the result. I hope we will. The home advantage, the no fans, I think that makes a big difference in these games. Rodgers' record just gives you supreme confidence. But I don't see this walk in the park that lots of people say. I don't see that happening.
Well, it's quite funny that you say that you're talking about your bet builder about Cantwell getting a booking, because I'm telling you this right now, everybody listening, do this right now, get a $5 stuck on for Callum McGregor to be the first player to get booked tomorrow, because it has been we've obviously been made aware this week that the referee who has been appointed is John Beaton and Andrew Dallas is on VAR. Now, it's a bit of an area of contention on the bus. Everybody has their different opinions on it. Whether you do believe that the referees are incompetent, whether they're cheats, whether they're Rangers fans in disguise. You know what my opinion is on that. I've made it very, very clear over the years that I've been on the bus. Now, guys, we're going to discuss this because this is people are feeling. I'm seeing the discourse online. I'm seeing what people are saying. I'll start off with you, Johnny. People are saying this because of the whole background, circus that is going on by Rangers now. The fact they're not playing at Ibrox, the fact that they're absolutely fucking skint, the fact that their players are leaving for absolute peanuts, the fact that they really do not look good at playing football right now. They've already dropped points, and in the league this season. People are thinking this is a trump card that Rangers are playing relatively early doors, so that they can, try and get a little bit of something like this. Obviously, we're not trying to say that Rangers are controlling the SFA and that they're, that Beaton's been appointed to try and get Rangers anything in this game. But all people are saying is that it's a tiny little bit of a leveler, considering the history and considering previous decisions that have, went on before. So, Johnny, I just want to get your thoughts on, the appointment of John Beaton and Andrew Dallas on VAR, because if we've seen this season, VAR has been very, very strange. Obviously, Willie Collum is now the head of the referees. We've got a new guy, I forget his name, an ex-Premier League referee, who's in charge of the VAR. We have had multiple instances this season already where we should have been given penalties. 100% should have been given penalties. I'm not hearing anything else. Should have been given penalties multiple times this season already. We've missed it on at least 2, and they've not been given. A lot of people are saying if that's any other team in the league, and especially the team over in Hampden now, that would be given for them. So people are wondering what's the new rules here? What's the stipulation? Has the rules changed? What's the the margin for error now because this new guy's in situ dealing with the VAR? So Johnny, I wanted to just get your quick thoughts on that now, my man.
To be honest with you, I don't get myself all het up and wired up about VAR referees, who's the referee going to be. The chances are, when it comes to a Celtic Rangers game, it's going to be Beaton either in the middle of the park or doing the VAR or the other way around. We've had some dodgy decisions go against us, of course we have, and we're going to have some more in the coming weeks and months, possibly starting tomorrow. To be honest, I just don't get myself wired up about it. Yeah, we get pissed off about it. Last year, I didn't think in the 3 each game, I didn't think it was a penalty kick. Neither did Beaton to start with, until he got called over by his mate to have another look at it. They decided to give it as a penalty kick, and it was a game-changing penalty kick. Now, we also had the roles reversed with the Hearts game. It was beaten. It was on VAR, wasn't it? With the penalty kick that was given against Iwata, which was just an absolutely ridiculous one. On the flip side, we had the Rangers goal chalked off in the cup final for the push in the back, which probably come down to Joe Hart bringing it to people's attention than anything else. I hate to sound wishy-washy about it, but it swings and roundabouts. We're going to get good ones. We're going to get bad ones. We do seem to get more bad ones against us. And until the names and the people who are responsible for the decision making, putting these people in the position of making the decisions, nothing's going to change. It's just going to stay as it is. And we're just going to have to make sure that as a team, we make it so it doesn't matter. The result doesn't matter because we've done everything properly, professionally, and won the game fair and square. So I'm not going to get myself het up about which particular Rangers supporters running the line, which particular Rangers supporters in VAR, which one's in the middle of the park. It's just the way it's been for my 62 years on this earth. So there you go.
Well, as a great man once said, if you're good enough, the referee shouldn't matter. But then again, obviously, I don't think he was. He didn't get to see the corruption that happens with VAR, in my opinion. So I doubt he could have predicted that. But Terry, mate, how are you feeling going into this? Obviously, I feel like it's an area of contention between you and me. I feel like I'm very much on the side of I don't like the referees. I do think they're cheats. I do think that they wear their blue tinted specs and they do it to such a crazy degree that it's almost laughable, the decisions that they get given. And it's there for all to see, and I don't know why it doesn't really get called out more. There's nothing that really gets done about it. But then again, the SFA are inept to say the least, and they really are just letting it go and letting it happen. But what do you think, mate? Do you think this is going to have any kind of impact on the game tomorrow, having beaten and Andrew Dallas involved?
My opinion today at 4:00 could be very different than my opinion tomorrow at 4:00. Right now, what I feel is it's a very, very difficult one because we're in a scenario where if we're using Scottish refs, in 90% of situations, those refs are going to have a leaning towards either Celtic or Rangers. You can't really get away from that. I do believe there's some that genuinely don't give a shit about either team, but there are going to be referees, because the things people forget is a referee. People get involved in refereeing in football because they love football and because they probably weren't good enough to play football, and the opportunity for them to have an involvement and a career in football was to go down the referee route. And I genuinely mean this. Sometimes I feel sorry for the likes of a John Beaton, because John Beaton's no different to me. He supports Rangers and he loves his club. I genuinely can't think of anything worse than if I had to referee that game tomorrow. I would find that a very, very difficult position to be put in. And don't get me wrong. As soon as that whistle blows, I'll be calling John Beaton names, and I apologise in advance, John, for doing that. But I do sometimes think these guys are put in a difficult position, because I wouldn't want to referee that match, because first of all, I want to watch it and enjoy it. But secondly, there's a hell of a lot of pressure on you when you're the decision maker in that game and you have a leaning towards one of the sides. It's just a different angle to have a think about it. I do think it's a difficult situation, and the solution is you don't put people into that position, and you get referees who are neutral and have no affiliation to either team. But as we've seen again, as John's in my lifetime, it's always been one of those things. Celtic fans think the referees are all Rangers supporters. Rangers fans think the referees are all Celtic supporters. I think an interesting one is you asked us to predict our team for tomorrow. I think what's maybe an easier one is to predict the referee for the four Celtic Rangers games across the season. because the only one that's up for debate now is Willie Collum, because Willie Collum always got one, but now that he's the VAR chief, it'll be interesting to see. But I think he can hand it hard to say. Obviously, Beaton's got tomorrow. Kevin Clancy will get one. Nick Walsh will get one. And I think the other one will be the referee that gets the most Celtic games going, Don Robertson. He's bound to get one. It seems as if Don Robertson gets Celtic every 2 weeks. But at the moment, I'm not concerned about Beaton. Andrew Dallas, less so. Yeah, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered at this point, Conor. I genuinely am. That may change. That may change come some stage during the game tomorrow. But I'm not bothered. We've got a small pool of referees, and these are the guys that are at the top of that tree. There's one up and coming one that I am concerned about. It's David Dickinson. I'm worried when he gets him, because he's very blatant. There's been games where John Beaton has made decisions against Rangers, but I'm yet to see David Dickinson make one against Rangers. No, I'm not bothered. In summary, I'm not bothered at this point.
Right, that's fair, and I understand where you guys are coming from. The fact at the end of the day is I am not sitting here on my soapbox here, calling for guys like John Beaton and Andrew Dallas to lose their jobs. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for them to never referee a Celtic game again. I'm never even necessarily asking them to never referee a Celtic Rangers game again. I just want a bit of transparency. And every other major league in Europe, you have to declare your allegiances. It's just a fact. And you don't let referee derbies. You're not allowed to be a Real Madrid supporter and referee a Barcelona game. You're not allowed to be a Tottenham supporter and referee an Arsenal game. It's just the way it works.
But Conor,
the problem there is then
if we tried that in Scotland, we wouldn't have a referee.
Yeah.
Do you honestly know anybody? I mean, all right, and I've been living down south now for 21 years, but when I lived in Glenrothes, you had either 90% of the factory I worked in, you either supported Celtic or Rangers. There was one or two who followed Dunfermline. But even those that followed Dunfermline or Wraith Rovers or East Fife, they had a lean in one way or the other. When it came to the Celtic Rangers game, they would support one or the other. And so if we had you're a Celtic supporter, you're affiliated to Celtic, you this, that, the next thing, we wouldn't have a referee. We just wouldn't have any referees in Scotland, because nobody could deny one way or deny the fact that they are either Celtic or Rangers of some form of leaning, whether it's 100% down the line Celtic Rangers supporter, or I support Dunfermline, but I like to see Rangers win, or I support Wraith Rovers, but I like to see Celtic win.
I know, but that's what I said. I don't think that they shouldn't referee the games. I didn't say that they shouldn't referee the games.
Oh, sorry,
I know, yeah. But I'm just saying I want a bit of transparency. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, see if it was there in black and white. John Beaton, Rangers supporter; Andrew Dallas, Rangers supporter; will I call him Celtic supporter, or whatever. You'd be able to actually almost justify and almost kind of come to terms with the decisions being made, because for a fact there's a clear bias there. And then you can maybe just let the chips fall at what they may, and then that's fine. But it's the perceived notion. It's the pictures taken in pubs of the referees that are there. It's the fact that Willie Collum popped up on a Chapel live stream, reading out a psalm for the Bible thing, and all the Rangers fans jumped all over it. The fact is, it's all just conjecture here or there. Technically, right? No one knows one way or the other which way the referees support. All I'm saying is, I just want a little bit of transparency. Now, obviously, there was a referee strike. We got foreign referees in. They were pretty all right. They were pretty decent. They don't have really leaning one way or another. Granted, you could say there's the religious thing comes into it. I don't really put much stock in that anymore. I'd say that religion and stuff like that's kind of not really where a lot of these guys' heads would be at nowadays. It's not the dark ages anymore. So if you did get refs in for Spain, Germany, Italy, wherever, if it was a possibility, I don't think it necessarily would be, because it would cost the SFA money that they're not willing to invest in the game. But all I'm saying is that would be a decent counterpoint to do it, where and then you have literally next to zero grumbles with the decisions being made besides the actual decisions themselves. You can't say they're biased. You can't say they're leaning one way or the other, because then, you know, you have that transparency. They don't favour one team one way or the other on paper. But we'll move on for that, because obviously I feel like we would just be going in circles, and we could, you know, talk about.
You don't think it might
talk
just
about
be
it
that
all
the Scottish
day.
referees are just shit, which is why none of them have been asked to officiate
I know, but
Europa?
I feel like you're giving them
World Cups.
too much credit there, man. Oh, they're shit. Maybe they're not just shit. There's been things came out for like years and that. Granted, it's all hearsay. Granted, it's all shit on WhatsApp groups and that. People saying, "Oh, I know such and such. Let's do doing. You know, he loved getting decisions against Celtic." But the mate, there's ex-referees.
I'm not meaning it in that way, Conor. I just mean that maybe they're just not very good at what they are trying to do, which is why they've never been asked to officiate it. When was the last time we've seen one at a major international championships, for example?
I know, but then why should we accept mediocrity, mate? Why should we be accepting that? That's another point as well. We shouldn't be accepting them being shit. We shouldn't just be saying, either shit, just let them get on with it. No, we should be demanding better. Like, we should be demanding better across the board. Like, we should be demanding better from our youth academies, our youth products. We should be demanding better rules and better legislation for people inside the stadiums, for in terms of, you know, possibly being able to enjoy a fucking pint in the stadium, which we've not been able to do for fucking decades. Like, there's so much there that's, you know, I'm getting away from the point now, but there's so much there, and we're going like in circles and going off in tangents.
I think, Conor,
I think
for your own sanity, I think you've got to give these guys the benefit of the doubt. And the way I look at it, and the way I try to look at it, and again, I'll probably come on tomorrow absolutely fuming about a decision, but the way I try to think about it logically is, this is a job for these guys. It's a really high, well-paid job for refereeing a game of football. So if you try to think about it, in your work and in your private life, you make different decisions, because one of them is in your paid employment and the other one's in your spare time, and you make decisions based on which of those positions that you're actually in. And I just try to rationalize it, that this is a job for these guys. They're professionals and they get paid for it really, really well, and they want to get things right, because if they get things wrong, then that will affect their job and their future income. So that's trying to break it down in a way that makes it make sense to me, why you've got a supporter refereeing a game between the team that he loves and the team that he hates. But once kickoff goes tomorrow, I'll be all over him.
Right. All I'll say is, this is my last point, right? This is my last point, and we'll just leave it at this. We come from a country where referees can go to orange lodges and go to Sash Bash on the estate and literally go on stage with a microphone in hand.
That's your private life.
I know, but in Rangers, but gloat about decisions they made in their professional day-to-day job, about decisions they made. They had a referee for his last game, literally requested to have a certain game, which was refereeing the Rangers game. Luckily, it fucking blew up in their face and Rangers lost that game. But it's still, you know, a fact of the matter is that happened, mate. You know, and it's a thing that's permeating there, and it is a monkey that I will never ever get off my back, probably until the day I die. You know, I don't have any hair left to lose, but if I go and get a Bhoycie or a turkey, then it will probably fall out again, because, you know, I'll just be so stressed for the rest of my life about these fucking referees.
I don't want you to die young. Let it go. Just let it go.
Mate, my heart can't take it anymore. But anyway,
I don't want you dying before the end of this pod. Does anybody know how to do virtual resuscitation?
Not virtual, no. Sorry.
Just shout on the Alexa phone 999. But right, we'll move on to the next topic. The next topic and next point, guys. Okay, there's only a few more, and then we'll wrap things up to sweet. So, Johnny, how are you predicting, as much as you can predict? I know it's very, very hard to predict how these games will go. So obviously, you can never predict which way it'll go on Derby Day, right? But how do you think the game will go, and where do you think the game will be won?
I think we're going to win. I'm quite confident we're going to win. And I think we will win in the midfield. We'll boss the midfield. And therefore, because we're bossing the midfield, we will feed the attack a lot better and create more chances. We'll create more opportunities. And I think we'll win 3-0. So I can start relaxing. Terry.
Right, Terry, what about you, mate?
I think the midfield, we'll win the midfield battle. Because Rangers are going to have to figure out what they're going to do to stop McGregor. Because if they give McGregor the time that they've given him the last few games, when he's been fit, not the 3 each game, he controls the game. And yeah, the midfield, we're going to boss the midfield. With the midfield will be, as I said, I think it'll be McGregor, Hatate. And if McGregor gets to control the midfield and Hatate turns up and plays the way we know we can play, we'll control the midfield. We'll dominate the midfield, in fact. And yeah, and that'll be the launch pad to the victory. Now, 3-0 I'm going for.
Right, that's fair, mate. I do think that's quite interesting. You do see that they do tend to sit off their midfield a wee bit, and they just let Callum McGregor just roam about wherever he wants. And I do think that I was thinking about this recently. I think Callum McGregor's kind of having a bit of a Joe Hart type of season already since he's announced his retirement from international football. Obviously, Joe Hart announced his retirement from just football in general, but Callum McGregor's announced his retirement from international football. I feel like I've seen him play with, like a freedom and an exuberance that I've not seen from him in a wee while. He seems almost less tired, and I feel like that, the potential, weight of all the games he has to play internationally, domestically, and that, a large chunk of that's been took away. So now he can really just drill in and focus on just being the Celtic captain, So Terry, mate, where do you think that the game's going to be won? How are you feeling about it? You got any predictions at all about where we're going to go?
See the Callum McGregor thing. I genuinely don't think that Rangers haven't picked up on his dominance in these games. I think the spaces that he always finds, that's a skill. It's a skill that only very, very, very good footballers have. And it always looks as if you're getting the ball and there's nobody near you and they're backing off. That's not right. He's able to find those spaces. He's making the runs. He's making the shapes for the defenders to be able to bring the ball out and find him. I was talking to one of my lads this morning, just here a match. Done loads this morning as well. I know people think I just sit and drink all the time, but I don't. I was out at my son's match this morning, and then I'd done a couple of hours in the garden, so I've had a busy day. But my young lad was playing this morning, and we were coming home, and we were just talking about who he thought played well in the game. And then we were chatting about professional players who he thinks are the best footballers. And I put a name to him that he hadn't thought of, and it was Rodri. And he says he's just somebody that gets the ball and recycles it. And I said, son, see people who really, really know the game. There's actually lots of people think at this moment in time Rodri's the best footballer in the world, because see finding those spaces, see always being available for your teammate to give you the ball. That's not luck. That's a skill. And in these games, Rangers will have set out a game plan to stop Callum McGregor playing that quarterback role, picking the ball up off the centre backs and starting to dictate. Rangers will have tried to stop that in those games. Once it happened the first time, yeah, okay, they'll have tried to do that. But because he's better than the players that he's up against, he continues to be able to find those spaces. And I think that'll still happen tomorrow. I think all our good stuff will go through him. In terms of prediction, I know it'll probably come across as negative. I still don't see it. I don't see it being a cakewalk. I see it being a game where we go through every single emotion known to man and woman. And Celtic win 2-1. I think it'll be another helter-skelter game, all sorts of incidents. But I don't see a procession. I genuinely don't. I think it'll just be typical blood and thunder, Glasgow Derby. I'm really, really looking forward to it. But I'm going for a tight 2-1 victory. Right.
Well, I would have asked you for your prediction at the end, guys, but you gave me it now, so that's fair enough. But now going into this game, obviously we're already 2 points clear at the top of the table. I do believe that Rangers are actually sitting in third right now, so make of that what you will. But we there's a lot riding on this game already, and now usually if there is one game where you can potentially have a little bit of a slip up, and as if it's a derby, it's usually the first one, because you do have the other three there, and you do have the rest of the season to kind of come where points could be dropped or lost kind of anywhere. So we've seen it famously under Ange. We lost the first game, first derby of the season, and yet we still went on to win the league. So we there's a lot, in this, and there's a lot, riding on it. But I've got this weird. This is just me personally, right? This is the least like hyped up I've been about a Glasgow Derby in a long time. I feel like there's just been such a kind of just like stillness. Nobody's really gotten massively hyped up about it. The media have been really, really quiet, which then for a fact that things aren't going well over their side of the city. Because if things are going well for them, you can be sure that the articles will be coming out, and guys like Barry Ferguson and the rest will be putting up fucking headlines about how Philip Clement's going to come and smash Rodgers and school him and all the rest of it, and the new signs that they've made are going to come and absolutely tear it up. But I think just because their form's been so poor, they've not looked great, they've got this entire circus, that is going on in the background. It's really kind of, I think, almost distracted what's going on with them from the actual lead up to this game on the weekend. I don't know if it's just me, but that's kind of just the feeling that I'm getting.
The one that last game 6-0. You can't get much better form than that.
Mate, I know some Rangers fans, right, who were talking to me, and they were saying we're still looking shit after that result. Who were speaking to me and saying we're still not looking great. They said they're still not playing well. The tempo's not there. The passing's not there. A lot of their players look, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And look, Rangers have that result in them, especially when they're playing at home against a team like Ross County, who will more than likely be relegation fodder this season. I reckon they'll possibly go down. So, and I know they had a great result against them last season. We've seen it when the game, the tail end of the season last season. But Ross County are, a mid to lower, table side team, and they do float around about, and they do flirt with relegation quite a lot season upon season. So getting the league whipping boys are scudding is no real indicator, I think, of them being a great team, if I'm being totally honest. I think
they were a great team. I just said their recent form was a 6-0 victory.
I know, but their form, like one game out, how many this season, they've not been great, mate. Like, like if a broken clock is right twice a day, mate. So it's it's not mate. I'm giving them fucking no credit for getting this game. They're getting nothing for me. They're not getting a bean for me about any potential threat they may carry. And like, this is famous last words. I can't see us losing tomorrow. But anyway, Johnny, what do you think is the potential here for like the vibe, the feeling, ramifications, advantages, all the things that come with this? What do you think the kind of the end result, depending if we win tomorrow, what do you think that could mean for us going into the rest of the season? Granted, it is still early doors.
Conor, all it means is we'll go. If we win, all it means is we go 5 points clear. It means nothing more than that at this stage of the season. We've been 5 points clear in the league last season, and then we almost went. In fact, we may well have done it. It's become such a try to raise a lot of the last season out of my memory, to be honest with you. I think at one point we were actually 5 points. We went from 5 points in front to 5 points behind. And so it means nothing. It means we're 5 points clear, and it's nice. And for those of you that are going to go to work with lots of Rangers supporters, it means you're going to have a good day at work on Monday. Somebody like myself who doesn't know any Rangers supporters at work, or doesn't pretend to meet very many people who are Rangers supporters at work, it means no more than we're 5 points clear, and I'm going to be going to go to Hong Kong on Monday evening quite happy. So that's all it means, Conor. It means, in the grand scheme of things, it means nothing. If we were 4 games from the end of the season, then we'd be talking a different subject. But this early in the season, it really means nothing. You don't even have to be long in the tooth to realise that 5 points this stage of the season isn't a big deal. It's nice, but that's as far as it goes.
Right, Terry, are you along that line of thinking, or is there something else you think is potentially in it?
I probably just go back. I said earlier, I think 5 points lead after 4 games. I think that is a big advantage at that point of the season. I think if we get the result tomorrow, it keeps that momentum going from a really, really good start that we've had. Despite all the things I said about what I thought about the shambolic window, the manager and the players have made a good start this season. It's been good to watch. It's been fast. It's been intense, and I think that the players at his disposal, he's absolutely maximised in each of those 4 games that we've had. There hasn't been any moment of stress in any of those games. I think that'll change tomorrow. I think there'll be stressful moments in the game tomorrow, but I think 5 point lead after 4 games. I totally get what John's saying. Nothing's done, but I think it's a great position that you could put yourself in after so few games. And yes, things can twist and change, and we've seen that last season where, quite stupidly, I was calling the league in September or October, and before you know it, you find yourself 4 or 5 points behind with 6 or 7 games to go, and you're second favourites. And things can change. And myself and John probably have a different experience from you being a Celtic fan, and you know that, or you've been through a period where Celtic haven't had much success, and there's probably always that thing that even though we've been absolutely dominant for the last 15 years, I think because we've been through a period where Celtic went through years and years of absolute mediocrity, there's always this nagging thing in your head that things can change, life can change, football can change, and there are different cycles, and there's cycles where you sort of see a team dominating and you think that can never change. I remember, John, if you think about the AC Milan team with Van Basten and Hullet, I looked at that team and I thought that team's just going to win the Italian league for the rest of time. There's no way that team will not keep winning. And now AC Milan are just an also ran in Italy. They've fallen way behind Inter Milan, Juventus, even Napoli. So things work in cycles. I think the difference with Celtic will be that Scotland, just with there being the 2 massive clubs, I genuinely don't think in my lifetime I'll see anyone other than Celtic or Rangers winning the SPL. The only thing, and I actually wish this would happen, part of me wishes this would happen, I wish some billionaire guy would come in and pick up a Hearts or an Aberdeen or a Hibs or a Dundee United and invest in them and make them great again. Because see, when I was a young boy, Dundee United were absolutely magnificent. Aberdeen were absolutely magnificent. The Scotland national team was made up of Aberdeen and Dundee United players, and these teams were competing in Europe. I seen Dundee United playing in a UEFA Cup final. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about that now. Think about where Dundee United are at now, and where a UEFA Cup final is now. What was the UEFA Cup final last season? It was Atalanta against, who was it?
Leverkusen.
See, when I was a wee boy, it was Dundee United against Gothenburg, and Dundee United beat Barcelona over 2 legs. Roundabout, I think it was in that competition. Actually, I think it might have been the semi-final.
I think it was. That might have been the quarterfinals, Terry. I think.
Yeah, somewhere in that journey, John. I think it was.
That was the Kevin Gallagher goal, wasn't it? Paradise from out wide near the touchline. Did he need it? Did he not?
Those teams now are just so far detached, first of all, from Rangers, but Celtic are now detached from Rangers and the rest to a different degree because of the financial clout. So I don't think in my lifetime I'll ever see anybody other than Celtic or Rangers win the Scottish League. But I just think it would be great for the game if somebody with loads of dough came in and ploughed it into one of these teams and just made it a wee bit more interesting.
Aye, so they're shite. You can just say that, Terry. You can still have to be politically correct about it, mate. Just say the rest of the league shite, and then that's a much quicker and easier way to sum up that 5-minute rant you just got on there, man.
I'll tell you something that's going to be interesting. It's going to be quite interesting to see
Aberdeen this season.
Yeah, just exactly what I was going to say. How Aberdeen, they've had a really good start as well, haven't they? So, is it the honeymoon period, or is this guy? What's his name? Tellin or something? Is it?
I tell you what, I'll make a quick prediction now, right? We beat Rangers tomorrow. We give them an if. This is an if, by the way. I'm not saying this will happen. If we give them a pasting, I'm talking like 4 goals plus, and they don't respond, they will go into such a catastrophic meltdown. Mentally, their manager will do it, their players will do it. You know, they'll chuck it because they know what they'll be in for again this season. Aberdeen will then finish second. I swear to God, put your money. If we give them a pacing tomorrow and Rangers go further behind, Aberdeen will finish second tomorrow because they have looked very, very good this season. Guys like Hearts, obviously, I know it's famous last words. Hearts last season did actually quite well, but they look pretty stinking this season. Hibs have already Hibsed it. We're only a few games in. Typical. The rest of the teams, St Mirren's, Johnstone's, whatever, Motherwell, might do okay, but they're never really ever going to compete for that top 4 spot. So I think tomorrow we give them a bit of a doing. Put all your money, put your fucking house in Aberdeen finishing second. I swear to God.
Well, I'm not going to go as far as that, Conor, but I think Aberdeen can be interesting to keep an eye on, just to see how it keeps progressing with that. They seem to. I don't watch them, but seeing the results and reading reports, they seem to be doing quite well at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops through the course of the season. And if they're still doing quite well at Christmas, then you might have a chance of coming right. But at the minute, I think you're stretching it a bit.
I think we need to be balanced here and let the passengers on the bus know that there are other options other than putting all of your life savings and your mortgage on Aberdeen to finish second. That maybe
just do it. Remortgage your house. I don't care if you got to do.
Please gamble
responsibly.
Gamble responsibly. Don't listen to Conor.
Your life savings, your kids' uni fund. Put it all in Aberdeen to finish second in the league. Do it all. Do it tomorrow. If we win tomorrow, when you're about 20 beers deep, you've about 20 Guinnesses and 10 shots of Fireball, get your savings at Aberdeen to finish second tomorrow. Anyway, guys, that has been me. It has been Johnny. It has been Terry. We've had an absolutely fabulous time here this afternoon. We hope you have enjoyed. Please don't forget, you guys can like, share, subscribe, share the bus far and wide with all your Celtic supporting family or friends, or your Rangers fans. I'm sure they'll love to join in as well. And don't forget to use the code BUS1888 on piesports.com as well for all your tasty pastry treats. Use that code in the checkout. You can make use of that however you so wish. Anyway, guys, I'd like to say thank you again to my co-hosts, and thank you guys for listening, all 131 of you. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. We'll see you next week, potentially. And hail, good luck tomorrow. See you later, guys.